I've been in recruitment for almost 15 years, and in that time, I have seen hiring managers pass on thousands of candidates. And one of the things I have discovered is it's often not for a good reason. In today's video, I'm going to give you 7 of the most common reasons that hiring managers pass on candidates that I would consider fall into the bucket of not a good reason to pass on a candidate. Let's go. So the first one I want to talk about is the candidate is a job hopper. Now, hiring is an exercise in risk mitigation. So hiring managers look and they see someone who has moved around a lot and it makes them quite wary. Here's the difference though. If someone has several stints that are less than a year or a year, and you look in their resume and you see a pattern of that, that is one thing. But I've heard hiring managers look at a resume and a person's there for 3 years, 2.5 years, 3 years, 3.5 years, and they refer to that person as a job hopper. The average tenure in the United States is 3.1 years. So if you're at a place for 3 years, you are not a job hopper, you are average. That is the average stint in America. Additionally, I hear people say that today. And when you think about the last couple of years with COVID and then with overhiring and then letting people go and downsizing, it is quite unfair to look at a candidate and just assume they are a job hopper and they are the issue. The second bad reason is not having a degree. Look, I have my degree and I have my MBA, but I've also seen tons of candidates who are fantastic at what they do and highly impactful, and they don't have a degree. And I think more and more today in 2024, you're seeing people decide to opt out of going to traditional college, then go and get a job. There are several fields in which if someone is proficient in what they are doing, a degree isn't necessary. For example, software engineering. If you've got someone who is an incredible coder, but you decide to pass on them because they don't have a college degree, but they can perform the role, I think that's a strategic mistake in terms of hiring and building out a team. At some point, what really should take precedence is their ability to do the job, and not did they go to a school for 4 years. They aren't a 100% fit for the role. And by that I mean you have all the nice to haves, all the must haves, and a candidate might have like 80% of that. And I've had hiring managers say, well, they don't meet every single requirement. The reality is, if someone meets every single requirement of your role, and they are doing pretty much that exact role, that is a lateral move. Great candidates don't make lateral moves. They make moves into the next role in their career, which means presumably they won't meet every single qualification. They will meet most of the qualifications, and there will be room to grow into the future. Qualifications they don't meet, that's on-the-job growth. That's taking on more. So I consider this to be a really poor move. If you have a candidate and they meet 80% of the qualifications and they seem like a great candidate, that would be a really good fit for your team, but you decide not to move forward with them because there are a few little things maybe they don't have in their background that aren't essential to the job function, meaning they could learn it on the job, you should not pass on that candidate. Hey, by the way, if you're finding value here, do me a favor, hit that like button. It's free, it tells YouTube I don't suck, and it motivates me to make more videos like this, and it really helps the channel. And if you're already willing to do that, then hit that subscribe button and notification bell. That way you never miss one of my 3 free weekly videos, all designed to help you nail your next interview and land your dream job. They have a gap in employment. Now, again, interviewing is risk mitigation, right? They have a problem, they don't have a person in the seat. They're trying to solve that person by hiring someone, and they don't want that problem to happen again. So they're mitigating risk when they look and they go, okay, well, this person has a gap of employment. However, there are so many good reasons to take time away from the workforce. Maybe someone in your family was sick. Maybe you were enjoying your life and traveling abroad. Like there's a host of reasons. And I think it's really important not to just pass on someone when you see a gap. You need to understand their story. Does it make sense? You know, did they take a brief period and now they're back, and the likelihood of them leaving the workforce again is minimal. If you just pass on a candidate because of a gap without taking the time to understand why did they leave, why does that gap exist, that is a huge mistake and a bad reason on passing on someone. The next reason I think is really bad reason, and hiring managers passing candidates because of this reason all the time, is they weren't an amazing interviewer. They didn't have the perfect answers to every single question. Some of the best people who are the best at doing what they do are bad interviewers because they haven't had to interview. Maybe they've been with their company for like 8 years straight. When was the last time they interviewed? Maybe they're just bad at interviewing. Maybe they're an introvert who happens to be fantastic at their role. Interviewing and the job are 2 different skills for most jobs. So passing on someone who isn't the perfect interviewer is a huge mistake, but it does happen all the time. People get blown away by a candidate who interviews really well and they hire that candidate instead of the most qualified person. Now, if you want to make sure that doesn't happen to you and you want to have the best answers possible, if you go down the description box, the first link is actually the link to my course. It is a full course on interviewing. And if you go through that entire course, every single video, you will be set up to absolutely nail your next interview and be that candidate who gets chosen off the strength of their interview. Another annoying reason that hiring managers pass on candidates is they feel that the candidate is interested in a role beyond theirs. So they ask a question like, where do you want to be in 5 years? And they give an answer, and that answer makes the hiring manager think, oh, well, that's beyond my role. So they're going to come here and they're going to be looking to leave my role in the future. Yeah. Of course, just like you are probably looking to leave your role in the future, hiring manager, right? You probably want to take the next step. It's a funny thing because they ask the question like, where do you want to be in 5 years? And or other questions that are future oriented, and candidates answer honestly. And they're talking about growth. They're talking about taking the next steps. But that makes hiring managers insecure because they want to hire someone who's going to be in that seat for a very long time. That's not realistic or fair. But when you ask that question and you make a decision based on them giving you a truthful, logical, and forward-thinking answer, and then you skip on that candidate, it's a terrible decision. Another big one, I've heard so many hiring managers pass on a candidate because they have a side hustle. And what they're concerned about is two things. One, it's going to take attention away from what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. You know, they've got a side hustle, they're going to be thinking about that instead of their job. God forbid they think about something other than your job for a second. The other thing they're afraid of is that the side hustle becomes so successful that they will leave. Again, risk mitigation. So it's a terrible reason, but hiring managers literally do skip on people all the time because they're concerned about their side hustle. If you have a side hustle, I would not bring it up in an interview. Now, I just gave you a whole host of reasons why people get passed on in an interview. But have you ever been in an interview and you feel like it's going pretty well, but you don't know if you are the front runner candidate? It happens to everyone. And if you want to solve that, watch this video here. This video here is 7 signs that you are the front runner candidate. You are the top candidate for a job. I'm done here. I'll see you over there.